I think you all knew the Naruto antinatalism video is coming. I've actually been really excited to start talking about anime and philosophy, and I think this is probably the trajectory of this channel. Maybe. I mean, I'll just talk about whatever the fuck I want, really, but you saw the profile picture. I'm pretty sure you knew what this was gonna be, right? I consume a lot of Naruto content online, and it's funny how a series that fuck Boruto, by the way, I'm not even gonna okay. If you like Boruto, I'm not one of those anime fans who's like really pedantic about oh, this sequel to that one, but genuinely fuck Boruto, right? I only watch spoilers of Boruto, right? Because there is no sequel to Naruto, especially Shippuden. There is no sequel, right? And even that, right? They definitely fucked up the ending, but that's not why we're here today. How is it that nobody has realized the infinite Tsukuyomi is the exact same thing as childbirth, right? It's the exact same concept. Madara, or let's say Kaguya, is a personification of nature. Literally a personification of nature. Nature replicated itself in so many different forms, mainly through DNA and RNA. Some forms in inorganic and organic compounds and all and so on and so forth. And then once it replicates itself, it dies and then gets reabsorbed back into itself. Or nature kills itself, then reabsorbs it back into itself. A lot like Kaguya did. Madara, to me, is the personification of humanity trying to dominate its own futility. That's what Madara is to me. Because humans so arrogantly believe that we're the pinnacle of evolution. We're the pinnacle of evolution. Look at social media for even 5 minutes, any social media you want for 5 minutes, and tell me that humans are the pinnacle of evolution. Even though evolution doesn't really work like that at all. Even though we haven't stopped evolving as a species. I don't know how people just overlook that every single day, like pretend like, yeah, evolution's over, like, we're the ones, it's us. And not only that, but they actively go against the very mechanisms that allowed humans to become apex predators in the first place. The infinite Tsukuyomi, and I love to see the debates and the arguments about was Madara right or wrong. And for those who say Madara was wrong because he was taking away the free will, or rather the will of people to make their own decisions and to experience their own mistakes and yada yada yada. Okay, fine, yeah. Who made Madara God? Well, he kind of made himself when he absorbed the fucking Ten Tails and became practically invincible until he was... honestly, Kaguya was a last-minute ass pull by the Naruto team, and I can never forgive them for that. That was such bullshit. But anyways. Madara made himself God. That's who made Madara God. The same way humans make themselves God on earth. It's literally the same thing. Whatever you ascribe to, especially diet wise, like, in this space there's a lot of vegans, and I myself am not necessarily vegan. I do admit vegans have the moral high ground. They do. They definitely do. A lot of them have really shitty nutritional advice, and a lot of them seem very unhinged. It's not really necessarily anything different to the rest of society, but in terms of harm reduction, I don't see how you can fight that they do have the moral high ground. How they go about applying it definitely has a lot of weaknesses. But if it's harm reduction that we're pursuing, why not just never have the people experiencing the harm in the first place? What is it about? And really, if you think about it, we're slaves to our own hormones and neurotransmitters, dopamine, oxytocin in particular, right? That reward system that makes us basically be bonded to things that we fucking hate, things that traumatize us. We are slaves to our own biology. But in that, we still think it's more, not even us, like, naturalists still believe it's more logical to continue reproducing. Normalcy, the concept of being normal is the most destructive concept to humanity, right? I don't see how there's so many debates over morality, and yet everybody acquiesces to some level of normal. We, in a sense, we play into the illusion. I literally couldn't watch most of the fillers in Shippuden as they were getting towards Madara becoming the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Okay, I did watch some of them, yes. And it was so telling. I think Tenten, the only time she could ever shine, Tenten realized that she was in a genjutsu. But eventually, she decided to accept it and say, this is where I truly belong. Even though she knew it wasn't real at all. We look down on people with schizophrenia and other sort of psychotic mental illnesses in that sense. We really look down on them. And really anyone who doesn't fit into this normal behavior pattern, we look down upon them terribly. But if you actually sit down with somebody like someone who's had schizophrenia or who has had those sort of psychotic episodes, your perception of life and humanity will never be the same. You have never been so terrified in your life to have things going on in your mind that aren't even going on at all, and you're the only one who perceives it. And it's like the people around you forever will think you're off. There's something off, right? Oh, he has this or that, or he behaves like this or that, or like maybe it's drugs or maybe it's what, but whatever. Someone with schizophrenia has to choose reality because they have no other choice. They can't choose to live in their delusions. because their delusions are the most terrifying things the brain could ever come up with. They can't live in their delusions. But if they can't, why can everyone else do it so easily? Why are we trauma bonded to our idealization of reality? Why are we so fucking bonded to it? I look at people who are sort of social outcasts in that extent, and I feel terribly for them, because we like to pretend that once we're grown up and we're adults, we're no longer kids, but that's not true at all. You could ask any mental health professional, and they'll tell you that pretty much everyone's problems arise from their developmental stages, especially from the ages of like 4 or 5, between the ages of 4 and 9, right? If somebody remains a certain way since they were a child, there was a reason for that. We're just grown children with licenses to drive and the permission to drink and smoke and have sex and, all the other beautiful pleasures of life. We're still kids on the inside. These drug addicts, psychos, all these kinds of people, this is who society shoves to the side in place of good worker bees, good worker drones. They have to fight to become NPCs. Do you know how crazy that is? Like, I think that's one reason why Naruto is so popular, because they were able to fuse these concepts that have been permeating throughout human history in a way that literally a child could understand. I mean, I personally love Naruto just because of all the what are they called? The dojutsus, the eyes, right? Byakugan, Sharingan, Rinnegan, all of it. Like, I don't know why I find that such an amazing power. Also, Edo Tensei and ninja zombies. Oh, I loved it. But some point it clicked to me that for all the criticisms people have against what Madara did or what Obito did, why wouldn't you say the same thing about childbirth? Right? Why wouldn't you say the same thing about nature and childbirth? Because it's nature that's forcing us to do this. But then nature is completely indifferent, right? Madara and Kaguya, like I said, were the personifications of it. I'm not sure who was who at whatever point, but okay, yeah, Kaguya was nature itself, right? She was just trying to assimilate all the chakra back into herself. But Madara is us. We think that we can create that new world where everyone wins and everyone is loved. But we can't. We've tried many, many, many times. And every generation just gets worse. Wars were bloody and horrific before the 19th century, before industrialization, before tanks and mustard gas and nuclear weapons. The 20th century hit like this, and it was just a bloodbath. In the age of modernity, how could we have seen so much bloodbath? Because there's no end to power. There is no end to power. There is no end to progress. There is no end to change. We have no end goal as a species. We have none. What, to go to space? To colonize other planets? Dear God. Oh man. To end all our problems? Either way you look at it, from a secular point of view or a religious point of view, they are all striving to do the exact same thing. If not, what exactly are you striving towards? It would be all well and good to let people live in their own personal infinite Tsukuyomis, honestly. I think that's kind of what we're doing right now. In our own, we have our own curated forms of escapism, right? More so than we have ever had them. But deep down, we know we're fucking lying to ourselves. We know this shit is not real. We know none of it is real. But just like Tenten, we say, I guess this is where I belong. I know it's not real, but I guess this is where I truly belong. We're trauma bonded to reality. And unfortunately, there's no Madara coming to save us this time.